Hey, what's up, guys? I'm going to be discussing today the Noah and the Great Flood story in the Bible. Basically, this story happens in Genesis chapters 6 through 9, and it tells a story of a man named Noah who was at the time 500 years old, and God came down to him and said, "You know what? Everyone down here is really bad. They're acting a fool. They're really corrupt. So I thought that you, your wife, your two sons, and their wives, I'm willing to spare. But what you have to do for me is you have to build this huge ark, which is going to be 450 feet long, 75 feet tall, and I think it was 45 feet wide." So the God in the Bible instructed him to do this. So it took him 100 years, and he had to round up every animal, or a pair of every animal, and put them on this boat. Now that story would probably go something like this. "Hey yo, Noah, let me holler at you for a second, man. Let me politic with you real quick. I got this little proposition I want to talk to you about." "Oh, hey God, how's it going? Oh, Staps, I ain't seen you in a while. What are you here for?" "So, how you living? How the kids? And how your old lady doing?" "Well, actually skip that. I'm God. I can see all that shit. So you ain't gotta even tell me all that stuff I actually don't really even care about. I mean, why don't you think your prayers don't get answered? I mean, the prayer voicemail up in heaven got trillions of missed prayer calls, and shoot, I ain't got no time for that. I'm out here trying to impregnate virgins and whatnot, bro." "Well, actually, let me tell you what I'm really here for, alright? See, me being God, and I made all this stuff and whatnot, I'm sort of disappointed with what I made. I mean, I only had like 6 days to do all this stuff. Why do you think on the seventh day I was resting? 'Cause I was tired. I was out here with my magic wand. There goes the elephant. There goes some light. There goes Simon and his daddy. And I was tired on the seventh day. And so not everything's perfect. My fault, bro. And let me tell you even something more crazy. I even got word of these people that call themselves atheists who don't think I am actually a real person. You see me right here, right? You see this chain, right? I'm real. Even though this chain don't look real, I'm real though, right? But they actually don't pray to me before they eat. Now, I know that, if they when they think they wives or something, because she actually really did that stuff, but they should still. Well, I mean, I'm not trying to be selfish here, but they should praise me too. They should even praise they woman for cooking them a meal. They should praise me. They should bow their heads to me, and I'm not even trying to be selfish right here. And these human beings, they ain't acting right. They acting a fool down there, right? And men leaving the toilet seats up, women making their men sleep on the couch. A lot of things ain't going the way I want it to been going, right? So tell me what we finna do. What I want to do is I want to flood this motherfucker. Wait, word? Like you really plan on flooding this planet? I mean, I can't even swim. In my neighborhood, we didn't have those big old pools and whatnot. We actually had those plastic circle pools that you fill up with a garden hose, and you put your feet in and whatnot. All the grass gets in, and so I don't know how to swim, guys. You want to have some floaties for me, like the little floaties you put on your arms like that, so I don't drown and whatnot. So this is how we want to do this, Noah. You want to build this boat that's going to be 450 feet long, 75 feet in tall, and 45 feet in width. And then also, how do you plan on fitting all these animals on a boat that long and that big? Like, how do you expect me to do it? I mean, I know I'm your man, guy, but yo, this plan sounds mad crazy, yo. Hey Noah, stop questioning me, man. I work in mysterious ways. If you think I can't fit all these animals on a boat after I just made men come from dust and women come from ribs, then you know what? Your ass can drown too, then. All right. So this is how we're going to do this, Noah. You're going to go out in the world, collect every single animal. I'm going to give you a Pokédex, and I'm going to use all these Pokeballs I got in my trunk so that all the animals are all compacted and stuff, right? Want to make sure the dinosaurs don't. Well, actually, the dinosaurs are going to go extinct because them T-Rexes ain't going to fit through them doors, bro. And I ain't trying to recalculate all these dimensions and stuff. So the dinosaurs, they going to just have to be history. I mean, they cousin the alligators and whatnot, they'll live on too. But and then you know what I want to do with the dinosaur bones? I'm gonna give them to my one brother, the devil over here, and he's gonna go out late at night with a shovel and put all their bones in the deep in the ground, So, he's going to try to trick them and not believing in me. I want to see how good their faith is, That's a good plan, ain't it, Noah? Alright, so you got about 100 years to do all this stuff. I actually changed the settings so you actually live a longer lifespan. You want to live to be about 800, 900 years old. So you want to take you and your children, you want to go out in the world, and you want to handle your business, alright? And I'll see you in 100 years. Peace. Alright, now this is going to be the serious part of the video where I discuss and analyze why this story is just extremely fictitious and it could never happen. So there are so many things in the Noah's Ark story that disprove itself, such as the age of Noah in Genesis in chapter 5. He was 500 years old. Now the oldest person to ever live was a French woman by the name of Jeanne Calment, who was 122 years old, and she's the only person to ever go past 120. Creationists put the date of the flood around 2300 to 2400 BC. Now, for someone to live that old in that day and age, it's unfathomable. Also, the morality behind the flood as well is something that should be looked upon too, such as this God is supposed to be all loving, right? But at the same time, because he is not happy with what he supposedly created, he wants to flood the planet. And mind you, this planet would have had a population that would have been probably, what, 20-25% of the total population would have been like children under the age of 18 or whatever. And a lot of Christians want to say that they're pro-life and they get this from the Bible. But in the Bible, it even shows that killing children is acceptable. Now, also with the date, if you do believe these stories, Noah's flood, after the waters went back down to their regular levels, 100 years later, the Tower of Babel was said to have happened. And the Tower of Babel, which in the Bible says it would reach the sky, that would take a considerable amount of manpower to make that. And about 300 or so years later, the world's population estimated to have been around 27 million people. So you're telling me that these 8 people made enough babies that in this 350-year time span, their 8 people transformed into 27 million people. The level of incest and just constantly being pregnant would be insane. The growth rate would be unnatural to humans if you look at a 9-month pregnancy. And then you look at the logistics that would go into rounding up the animals. There's millions of species of animals, and not only to gather all these animals and put them on a boat, but to take these animals out of their natural habitats where a polar bear would not be able to survive in the Middle East and a camel wouldn't be able to survive in the North Pole. Also, some of these animals would have to travel 7,000 miles, 5,000 miles. So the trek for these animals would be insane as well. And for them to make it across land and sea to where they need to go to, unless there's some magical type deal going on here, then it's not possible. And then you look at the amount of water needed to flood the planet, or to have it reach a peak of, or have it reach the peak of Mount Everest. The level of rainfall that would be needed would be 6 inches every single minute. And the amount of water vapor that would be needed for that amount of rainfall would make the air unbreathable to humans. Because where does rainfall come from? Water vapor in the clouds. It's that simple. But let's just say this flood did happen and they were able to get to that high. When you get past 25,000 feet, the thing that is called the death zone starts to kick in, where the level of oxygen needed for a animal or a human being to breathe becomes so low that they suffocate due to lack of oxygen. So from already, there's 2 different things that could kill this whole entire mission from just suffocating. Either it's from water vapor or it's from the lack of oxygen. Also, if you look at how many animals would have been on the boat, the level of food we needed to feed that amount of animals, I can't even imagine the number. And for that long, looking at a zoo, a major zoo, let's say like in New York, if you look at how much it takes to feed the zoo for one day, would probably fill the boat up. It would take truckloads of food to feed these animals. And to do it for 40 days, it's unbelievable. Also, the dimensions of the boat, which is 450 feet long by 75 feet tall and 45 feet wide, the millions of animals, even for a boat that large, would not be able to fit in that boat. Unless you had Pokeballs or some sort of other magical invention. I mean, I know God works in mysterious ways, but for them to fit in that small boat, it just wouldn't happen. It wouldn't work. They wouldn't fit. And then when they get off the boat, they have to worry about making sure these animals start to breed. And how are they supposed to do that when the whole entire planet is barren and there's nothing left on it because there was a flood that destroyed everything? All the trees are gone, all the fish in the are gone as well, because it says in the Bible that there was no fish that were put on the boat. So the fish that would have lived in, you know, fresh water or salt water, when their careful balance of the water they live in changes so drastically, they'll just be dead. So all these questions are something you really have to think about when you read the Bible. Now, I know a lot of people will read the Bible who are followers of Christianity. They'll read the Bible and say, oh, you know, all this stuff that we can't explain is God's magic doing that for them. But the actual story of this great flood happening shows a lot of resemblance to another story from the Epic of Gilgamesh. And it's not unusual that religions or, you know, cultural traditions or stories from one culture or civilization get passed down from something prior to that. So this story could be plagiarized. Now, in closing, to believe this story, you have to really turn off your brain. To look at the Noah's Ark story and see all these different things that are actually scientifically impossible, and to still believe it, it's crazy. And a lot of people who do believe in the Bible will say that, oh, well, it's my faith. And faith, by definition, is believing in stuff without evidence. And to me, that's just dumb. Like, I don't know how else to say it, but you apply that kind of logic to any other part of your life. I mean, would you believe in Santa Claus or dragons or unicorns? I mean, just because you have faith that a unicorn might be real doesn't mean that it's real. And that's all I gotta say. Thanks for watching. Comment below. Tell me how I did. Tell me how you feel about the Noah's Ark story. And have a nice day.